I am happy to be sharing these tips with you. And I tell you why I'm sharing these tips. I'm sharing these tips because, off air, many people have asked me, how do I promote my book? I have now written this book. I have self-published. So now what? In marketing your self-published book, you can also do a book launch. Now, you can do the book launch as soon as you produce your book and it's out in the marketplace. You can do your book launch 2-3 months after you've published your book and it's for sale on, you can go ahead and do your book launch a year after you've published your book. It all depends on what it is, how it works for you and your timing and your presentation. That is what it does for you. You can schedule when you do your book launch. It's a wonderful way to celebrate your achievement, to introduce your book to the world. You can do a book launch online, or you can do it in person. It all depends on what your resources are, what you desire to do, how much work you want to bother to do, and how much work you can give to other people to help you do. So a book launch is a great way to celebrate your achievement of writing and putting out a book and introducing your book to the world. I didn't realize what a reverence people would give you for writing a book until I wrote my own book. I know I have the greatest amount of respect for writers because as a reader, I love books. And to do a book launch, for me, it's not something that I chose to do. Because I like easy and I don't like having to put all the pieces together, although I love doing events. But I did not follow through on doing a book launch for my books personally. The book is done, it's here, it's ready, it's good to go. It's gonna do. I'm just like cut and dry like that. So I didn't have a book launch, but you can always have a book launch. You can have it, like I said, online, or you can have a book launch in person. You can do it as a part of a book club if you desire. You can build a whole book club based on your book, depending on the content of your book. And I'm just here giving you some ideas that you can work with. Alrighty. Next, ask for a review. Ask for a review from the book and poetry section in a local or international magazine or newspaper, or even online. Many, many people are willing to receive a copy of your book, to review your book, and write about it. Ask for a review. Do not hesitate. Don't sit and expect that anyone is just going to come up and say, let me review your book. But look for your reviewers. And you know what? Like attracts like. So if you're in the business of writing a book, publishing a book, wanting to market a book, then by all means, I'm going to invite you to definitely reach out. That's what I did in a number of cases. I said, would you like to review my book? And they say yes. They review the book and they publish an article. If you Google Jamaican 101 reviews, I don't have many views on Amazon, but I do have many responses on my social media pages. And I know some people drive and say, oh my goodness, I want more Amazon reviews. I'm going to tell you how you can get those. Go ahead and seek out those reviews. If you're doing a consistent marketing, or if you have a team who helps you do that, they will encourage people to write reviews. Yes, indeed. When you have a book, I'm trying to find back our Facebook page here to see if we have any questions while we go through this. La-di-da. Okay. Oh yeah, yes, Canoe. Selling books on airplanes and airports. Yes. I know people are always willing and ready to buy books. Hey, Gareth, good to see you. Charlene, Fagan, thank you so much for being here. Christine, thank you so much for being here too. Sabrina, yes, those tips, right? Yeah. Christine, you now have such respect for authors. I said to Canute, I never understood how someone could write a book and get an honorary doctorate until now. She's respect. Hey, you better know it. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Errol. I'm so glad that you are tuned in today. So perform readings of your book. You can do readings in libraries. Yes, you can talk to your local library people, tell them what your book is about. They can create an event around your book, and they can also invite you to the event. Speak to colleges about your book. Reach out to the professors if you have the type of material that his students want. So if you write a book, for instance, on economic strategies or something like that, or how something happened in a certain part of the world when it comes on to economists, reach out to the economics professor. Tell them you want to speak to their students. Ask permission and find out if it's okay to sell your books, and go with at least 100 copies. Find out how many people will be sitting in your audience and ask for at least 100 copies. Carry at least 100 copies with you. Who knows, you might end up getting a book deal from the university to buy a whole stack of books for the faculty and the students, or from the library. Yeah, walk with your books. Okay. And people are always looking for people to speak. Just this past week, I got emails asking me to speak somewhere. I don't choose to, so I declined. But the fact is, they're always asking for people to speak somewhere. When it's poetry, do that open mic. Find out when, where, and how the closest open mic is for you. Enter open mic competitions. Sometimes they have talent shows in your area. I know in Jamaica used to have a tasty talent competition. That was one good place. But people were more performing than, of course, publishing books. But certainly, by all means, what you got to do is let people hear you read your work. We have so many holidays. We have what you call it? The holidays like Independence Day, Heritage Week. We have President's Day, Black History Month, Child's Month, this awareness month, that awareness month, Mental Health Awareness Week, Cultural Week, Cultural Awareness, Haiti Cultural, whatever it is, you can position your book. There is something to absorb your book. Love Week, February 14, love. Valentine's, June, the month of weddings. If you have love stories, then volunteer to read your work. The amount of amazing opportunities you have to perform your published work, they are all endless. Some of them you can take up, some of them you may have to have a very large budget, a larger than expected budget, whatever it is. You take the opportunity that is presented before you. But like I said, everything starts with the content of your book, who you have identify your audience, and how much you plan to make. When I started doing my book, my very first book that I published, I didn't write down and say, I'm going to earn $10,000 this month. But I assure you, if I did, I would have done that. But like I said, my approach has been very laid back. But even with my laid back approach, I did a lifetime calculation as to how many books I sold since the book been out. It was way more than I expected, in the thousands. So I sell books online and I sell books in person. So it's still selling. Sometimes I get a notification from Amazon that my books have sold. And I get a check. Well, they do direct deposit to my accounts. And I like that. I like seeing, oh, that book, oh, nice. Sometimes I don't know my book has sold until somebody inboxed me and said, you know what? I got your book. It's good. I enjoyed it. And I like that feedback. That's great pay to get the feedback that people enjoys. Now, over here, you will see SC authors, SC books. SC stands for South Carolina. When I just moved to South Carolina, and that's not where I am now, I just wrote for the local entertainment newspaper. I reached out to the editor and said, you know what? I have this book about Jamaica. I know that Jamaicans, not Jamaicans, but I know that foreigners love to come to Jamaica. What did I do? I put my book there. And I was named a South Carolina writer. Yeah, that's what I did. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't tooth pulling. They didn't ask me to send them a book I had to even to have them reviewed. Or maybe I did, I don't remember. But it was the easiest thing. Just reaching out to the local newspaper and sharing my book with them. This wasn't the first time I published. I published an academic paper for the E&M Texas University Juvenile Justice Department about Afrocentric rituals and practices for young men, and it would aid them in choosing higher education as a way to better their life. So I did academic writing as well, and I've had that published as an I'm also a published academic writer. Of course, you know, I don't manage the selling of a university journal, but it's there for posterity. And they did send me quite a number of copies of that, but it's not for me to sell it, but it's good props to have. Good resume for my writing. So as you see on the screen, you have SC authors, SC books, and mine is featured along with 3 other books. 3 different other books. Plans and Laughing All the Way to the Grave, and, you know, Spirit of an Activist, and so on. People are writing books every day. You can promote yours, and there's always an audience for your book, for sure. So next page here, I want to show you this. Remember I was talking about sharing your stuff with your friends? Here I have a post from Oliver Mayer. Oliver is the Consul General for Jamaica in Florida. He received a copy of my book and he was happy to share it on his page. I got a lot of links, a lot of hits from that. I didn't ask him to share it, but I just dropped it in the mail. And he says here on the screen, you know, I got a thank you card and a copy of the book full of wonderful facts on Jamaica. And Oliver is always promoting Jamaican, you know, Jamaica. And he says one section featured memorable Jamaican plays that included Jamaica Pepper Pot by the late, great Aston Cook. Love that play. It was this play that inspired me to start my own productions. So again, we talk about people connection. It's very important. It connected for him. And it featured, and he named the people it featured, and they won an Actor Boy Award. My play that I also wrote won an Actor Boy nomination, though not award. And I was very excited about that because, again, I was a de facto playwright and didn't even really realize that. But that story for another time. And he mentions, guess who's in Pepper Pot? And one of our actors was Steve Higgins, who they're very close in Florida. You know, so do not keep your book a secret. And post as often as you can, as one of my other guests did from Why I Write. This is Joshua Spencer. He wastes no time in consistently sharing the interview that we did together. So to date, he has 7,000 views of the interview that I did with him. Why I Write. He's in Canada. And he has written several books. And he don't stop sharing this interview. He just keeps on sharing it. he keeps on sharing it. So if you've done an interview with me, don't stop sharing it. So use what you have at your fingertips. Now he has the highest number of views for any Why I Write show on the Facebook Live platform than anybody else, because he just keeps on sharing his own work. He just keeps on sharing. So that's just so you know. Alrighty. Another thing, again, I talk about asking your friends to share or share with others about the book. Donna is a person who attended a coaching that I did. And one of my gifts to those persons were receiving copies of Speak to It and Jamaica 101. She's also a Jamaican living in New York. And she says, you know, she really enjoyed it. And this began as a tribute to Jamaica's 50th anniversary. So she gave a synopsis. Content includes 50 funny sounding Jamaican words, 50 romantic spots. Every Jamaican and others interested in learning about our beautiful island should get a copy. I didn't tell her to write none of this. I didn't ask her to post any of this, but she was so moved by the content that she went ahead and did her own posts and so on. So whenever I get a notification from Amazon, sometimes I don't even know how the book is recommended to me. I can definitely set up maybe asking the would-be buyer, how did you hear about Jamaica 101 and all of that good stuff. But I'm kind of still old school where I don't do much deep dive into SEO. That's search engine optimization. I don't do much of that. And but if I do, I would do it through my team, who is able to determine, you know, how whatever happens. So that's also a topic for another longer conversation. Here is another interesting result from having your book. This shot is of 3 ladies from out of Connecticut. The book got into their hands from another connection I made in Connecticut, Corinne Smith Holness, and they made a whole book party about it. Now, remember, my book came out in 2012, so 2013. So this was before all this TikTok and all these various things that were very, very popular. So for this group in Connecticut, it was such a new thing for them because, wow, they're getting to see so much of their Jamaican culture written down and they remember it. And I do it in such a bite-sized set of pieces. There are lots of things I'd change in this book, doing it now, if I were to do it now. And I've redone it, but I just haven't released it yet. Some things I do definitely differently. But what I love is that my intention for the reader to enjoy Jamaica by, you know, just getting these little nuggets, that intention was realized. And I really, really, really am so grateful for that. So your book can be the focus of a book party. You can host a book party surrounding your book. Gather a few good friends from your work environment, your associations, have a good book party. It's just about being creative. And people don't stop talking about books that they enjoy. They don't. Or books that remind them of something that's good for them and within them. All right, so take a look at that. Next, book fairs. Book fairs is a good way to promote your book. Sometimes they're seasonal, and depending on where you live in the world, book fairs are a great way to promote your books. And what I find is that even if you're not a wow celebrated author, people are interested in being the first to hold on to something different, and especially if your book is different. And we were born into a world, it seemed that only a certain set of people could be writing books. Now, almost everybody is writing a book. But one of the reasons I do why I write the way I do is to get into the mind of the writer, to meet the author himself or herself, so that we can appreciate their creative output, their creative work. That's why I love doing Why I Write, because it introduces you the person behind the story, the art form. And thereafter, you are able to say, okay, I kind of see where this person is coming from. And you grab a use of their book. You know, grab a use of their book, exactly like what I say. You grab a use of their book, you may find it coming more handy than not. Here on the screen is a picture of one of my Go Speak Women events when I used to do these events live pre-COVID. And we had booths and people come to your event. This is my signature event. People come to your event and they expect to leave your event with something, whether it is mental, spiritual, a book, jewelry, information, resources. They come to an event, food, drink, new friendships, but they come with the expectation. They're so open to purchasing your book. They're so open to discussing your book at these events that are really, in fact, social events. So book fairs in your area, look them up. You can Google them, see what's happening in your area. Utilize them. Art fairs, utilize them. Authors forums, online or offline, utilize them. Publishing with Amazon, for me, they automatically hook you up with a whole forum of authors. I've never used it, partially because of the time that I don't have to do so. Now, when I publish books from here on in, I'm going to be utilizing more of the things that are available. Like, for instance, too, we have companies and association events. Some of you are with certain organizations that have events from time to time, and they do offer vendor space. There are different associations in your locations that offer different opportunities for you to showcase your work. They're all around you. If you just open your eye and you see, you will find that, and ask the questions. Find out what their terms are. And you may very well see that there's something that works for you. So do not hesitate. Online events. I have my online event coming up next week for Go Speak Women, something that I usually do to celebrate women online here. And we have women tell their stories and how they succeed at what they do, even though they may have gone through some rough stuff in life. So we look forward to sharing more on that with you in the days ahead. So look out for that. We had wanted to do our 5th anniversary as a retreat for women, but that time does not allow for us to go into that, but it's something that we definitely are looking at going into at a later time. So we keep you posted on that. So online events, great place to share your work. I have also been invited on podcasts, interview programs, online radio stations. I have been invited to speak about my book. And we always take that opportunity to talk about the various things about our book. Now, here's what's wonderful. Everything that I've spoken to you so far, it takes time and a little, what you may call it, elbow grease. Takes time and a little elbow grease. You can do it on your own. You can enlist the help of a student. You can hire a professional to work on it with you, whatever you choose. I'm just sharing with you the options that you have available. And I'm sure that there are more than a few that are available to you, but you just have to decide what's going to work for you in your schedule and your program and your work. But do not produce your work and just sit on it. Don't produce. There are some people I've invited to be my guest on Why I Write, and they either don't say yes, or they're difficult to get in touch with after they say yes, or any number of issues can happen. But I don't chase after anyone to do why I write, simply because it's really based on free will. Who wants to do what? So that we have an interesting conversation that you can come away from and say, wow, I didn't know that, or wow, that's different, or that's an interesting way of looking at this, that sort of thing. So on your screen, on my screen, you see Amazon Marketing KDP Select. I'm gonna show you a screen after this slide that you can look into if you do publish through Amazon. You also can advertise your book through Facebook marketing, paid ads. It can be very minimal, or it can be higher if you have a particular budget that you want to have in mind. I cannot guarantee you the success for any of these methods, but a combination of 1, 2, or 3 can work, can help. It all depends on you. Sometimes, as Knut says, you standing up in the airport, going about your business, you're falling into conversation with people. What do you do? What is it you're reading, what not? And you say, well, I'm actually on my way to Dubai to do what not, because, I just wrote this book about such and such, so I'm going to be making a presentation and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they said, do you have a copy of the book? And the next thing they say to you is that, how much is it? You tell them, and they don't give away your work. I beg you, don't give away your creative work. It took me so long to get my first book out because I was having it proofread, and I had a very, very good proofreader. Yes. And she would drag me over the coals. Yes. What does such and such mean? She behaved like how I behave with people too. If I proofread it, what do you mean by such and such, such and such and such and such and such? And I'm like, ouch, okay, I'll go change it. Yeah. You can also promote your book on your own website. I didn't have a website when I started. Facebook was my website. I just recently had a website done. Thank you so much to Select Aaron, Angela Slack, and Homer Slack for that. But I just recently had a website done. So that's my website address, TalkingOliver.com. You can build your own website, or you can have someone build it for you. It really doesn't matter how. And you decide what goes on your website. Put your books on your website. Some of the authors I've spoken with here on Why I Write, they have their own websites, and you can get their books on their websites. Sometimes those links take you right back to Amazon. Amazon is also a website, and they do have Amazon marketing. Audio record your book. That's the next frontier I'm going to go into, to recording my audio book. Yes, I am. Audio record your book. That's a whole another explanation. Audio record your poetry book. Get different readers to read sections of your poetry book accordingly. You're writing a how-to book, or you've published a how-to book, you can audio record your book, or you can hire people to do so for you. Here is the page I want to show you from Amazon. On your Amazon homepage, when you look down the left-hand default side, you will see market your book, ways to promote your book. And see here, they have everything lifted out to you. You can run a giveaway. See there, they even allow you to run a giveaway. Yes. They work with a large set of distributors to reach bookstores and library and other retailers. You can create an author page on Amazon, learn more. KDP Select gives you the opportunity to reach more readers, learn more. Amazon advertising creates customized ads to reach more readers, learn more. It's so fantastic to be living in 2023 because so many options are available to you. You don't have to fail. Success is in the air for you. Yes. Yes, yes, you don't have to fail. No, you don't. Not at all. You don't have to fail. And guess what? If this all seems too overwhelming for you, hire someone. Hire someone. You can set the rate. Whether you want to pay them $1,000 a minute or $100 a minute or $1 a minute, whatever it is, hire someone to do it for you. You can use platforms like Fiverr, virtual assistants. You know, you may have some folk and you put the specificities that you want in the person. I want somebody who knows how to do X, Y, Z and help me market my book so I can sell X amount of copies per month, blah, blah, blah. A college student, many college students will do it for half the cost of one of those regular people. Find those who are dedicated, who can do the work for you. So you don't have to stay stuck wondering, how do I market my book? So that's the end of my presentation on marketing your books. And it's just my pleasure to share with you what I know. So thank you so much for being my guest on Why I Write this week. If you enjoyed any of the tips that I shared, if you thought that anything could help anyone, go ahead and like and share this video. All right, so thank you again.